So next up, we're going to be focusing on how to use this content browser and what exactly is this for, and how to import models, how to sort of create things in Unreal Engine 5, and how to just add your models in Unreal Engine 5, right? So I'm just going to clear this filter. We had set this filter previously, but I'm just going to right click this and I'm going to click remove all filters, or remove, doesn't really matter that much because we just had one filter. Yeah, so basically you're going to see that this folder, sort of like this folder hierarchy is actually present in our actual file explorer as well, in basically the project folder. And you can just right click this and then you can click show in explorer, and then you're going to see that it's going to open the, what do you call it, the project folder for us. If I just reduce the size of this, yeah, so you're going to see basically, if I just go to my Unreal projects, you're going to see this Unreal 5 basics, Unreal Engine basics, and then we have essentially all these project files which are present here. So this content folder, whatever you put in this content folder is going to show up here. Yeah, right. So basically you're going to see that we have this content folder, inside of which we have the starter content, and here's the starter content. You're not going to see these, obviously, developers and collections folder, because these are, I think they're reserved for the root folder. Anyway, so you're going to see all your assets inside of this. So for example, if I want to add like a model, if I want to import a model in Unreal Engine 5, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be dragging that model inside of this folder, or I can just simply drag it inside of this content browser, right? So I'm just going to show you an example. I'm just going to show you a quick example of how to download a model from the internet and add it in your scene. Yeah, right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the internet and I'm going to search for, what should we search for? So let's import a simple chair model. So I'm just going to search for chair 3D model. And basically, if I just go to Sketchfab, Sketchfab is basically the website which I use for pretty much all of my models, for downloading most of my models. And so I think something like this should be good. Old Soviet chair, I think let's download that. Or maybe we can, I think I'm going to download this. So I'm just going to open that in a new tab. And let's see if we can find something better. So basically in Sketchfab, the items, the models which have this download sign next to them, on top of them, that basically indicates that they are free to download. However, if it has this $sign next to it, then that means they are available on the store, which means you can buy them. And if it doesn't have anything, for example, let me show you an example. For example, this thing right here, this has no symbol at the top. That means it's just to show you guys this model and make you jealous because you can't really download this. There's no way to actually download it unless you can contact the creator and stuff like that. But yeah, this is basically the chair. I'm just gonna inspect it to see if the materials are fine and everything like that. I think we're good to go with this chair. So let's just download this. I'm just gonna click download 3D model. And then you're gonna see that we have a .blend file, which is good for us because we know how to use Blender. And even if you don't know how to use Blender, I'm gonna show you how to sort of use it to the extent of like importing models and exporting them for Unreal Engine 5. But yeah, I'm just gonna download the .blend format. And I would actually recommend you to not open any sort of models directly in Unreal Engine 5. I would recommend you to actually run them through a traditional 3D software. So I would recommend you to download Blender 3D. So you can just go to the internet and search for Blender 3D and blender.org. Just go to this website and click download. So you can just press this download button right here, and then you can just download Blender 3.5.1. Obviously, the version might be different depending on when you're watching this. But yeah, you just have to download and install it. I'm sure you can do that on your own. So basically, once you have Blender installed, you can just open it, and then we're going to be importing the .blend format, right? So we can just open this zip file, which has this model in it. So basically, you're going to see two textures, two folders. The first one is going to be the textures, and so you're going to see that all the textures are going to be present in this folder. Yeah, so basically this is the ambient occlusion texture, this is the base color texture, and I'm going to be showing you how to apply all of these inside of Unreal Engine 5. Don't worry about that. But yeah, I'm just going to go to source, and then we have another zip file. But yeah, anyways, we have all these materials in this folder as well. Yeah, so I'm just going to be selecting all of them, and then I'm going to go to my desktop. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to create a new folder. I'm just going to call this chair 3D model. It's always good to keep your files organized. I actually would recommend you to sort of create a folder which has all of your which has all of your models in it. And I actually do have my own folder as well. So I'm just going to be dragging all these models in this folder. So while this copies, let me show you my own folder which has all the models which I use. So basically in my Unreal Engine 5 work folder, I have this assets folder, and then I have this models folder which has all the models which I usually import in Unreal Engine 5, right? So let's open this Chair 3D model folder, and then you're going to see that we have this .blend format. We don't really need to sort of import this in Blender. We can just open this by double clicking it, and it's going to open a brand new Blender file, a Blender window. And I'm just going to ignore this, and I'm just going to close the actual Blender window which we opened. And now you're going to see that we have that model imported. Now basically the way Blender works is that you simply select your object, you hold Alt on your keyboard, and you press the middle mouse button first to make that the center point of your rotation, and then you hold Alt on your keyboard again, and then you can just move using the left mouse button. Just press that and move your mouse to move to orbit your camera around that pivot point, right? So basically we want to make sure, we want to do two things in this. Firstly, we want to make sure that the normals are fine, the normals are in the correct direction. Otherwise it's not going to work properly inside of Unreal Engine 5. And the second thing which we're going to do is that we're going to be importing it as an FBX, and then we're going to be opening it inside of Unreal Engine 5, right? So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click this arrow right here. Now this tutorial is not mainly focused on Blender 3D, so I'm not going to be going into too much detail. However, you just click this button right here and click face orientation. Now your model is either going to turn blue or it's going to turn red, right? So for us it's completely blue, which is perfectly fine. Now let's assume that your model, or at least some part of your model, was red. So just ignore what I'm doing, and let's assume that your model was like this. Just ignore what I'm doing, by the way. Let's say your model was like this. It was all red. What you want to do is you want to select your model with your model selected, or if your model has multiple pieces, just press A to select everything. Basically the whole model is going to be selected then. And then you can just go to press tab to go inside of edit mode. And if you can't press tab for whatever reason, you can click object mode and then go down to edit mode. And after that, you're going to make sure that everything is selected. Again, you can either select all of these pieces one by one, or you can simply press A to select everything, and then go to mesh, go down to normals, and then flip. Now basically what this is going to do is that this is going to flip all the normals, and it's going to make this ready for make this ready to be exported, right? So I just pressed tab once again to get out of edit mode. But yeah, what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to go to file, export, and then FBX. Now make sure to export it as FBX, because generally in Unreal Engine 5 FBX models work the best, right? And then I'm going to be going inside my Chair 3D model, and I'm going to be saving it as Soviet chair.fbx. Now in this, you want to make sure that the settings are basically, the default settings are fine. The only thing which I'm going to change right now is that I'm going to go down to geometry and smoothing. I'm going to set this to face. Now this is just going to make sure that the shading of our object is a little better. So it's just going to make your scene look a little better, but nothing major, right? So then I'm going to click export FBX, and now it's going to be exported as an FBX. So if I just go to my Chair 3D model folder, you're going to see that we have this FBX model right here. Now this model, I can just simply drag this inside of Unreal Engine 5, and I can just drag it right here. Just drag it right here, and then you can press import all. But I'm not going to do that for now, because I'm going to first create a folder. I'm going to right click this content folder, and I'm going to create a new folder. I'm just going to call this chair model, and I'm going to be dragging the chair model inside of this folder, because I think it's generally better to just keep things organized. Let me reduce the size of this, and then I'm going to be dragging this Soviet chair inside of our Unreal Engine 5, right? So you want to make sure that it is not set to skeletal mesh, because if it is, it might mess up things. We're not going to be covering skeletal meshes for now, but yeah, make sure create new materials is selected, and then press import all. And so now you're going to see that our chair is inside of our scene. So I'm just going to be dragging this inside of our viewport like that, and it's as simple as that. You basically have a brand new chair 3D model inside of your scene. So I'm just going to be making sure that this is placed correctly. So I'm just going to move it up slightly, and I'm going to have to turn off snapping, because we want to make some precise adjustments. So I'm just going to be placing it right there. Now, if you want to make sure that you are placing something correctly, what you want to do is you want to simply click this perspective button right here, and then you can go to either of these viewports, basically any of these viewports. So for example, if I go to the left viewport, it's going to show the whole scene from the left perspective. So I can just zoom in, and then I can eyeball this to make sure that it is perfectly aligned with the floor. And obviously you can use these other options as well, for example, the top view, the front view, and stuff like that. But that's not really helpful for us right now. Anyway, so that's fine. And now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be scaling this up slightly. So I'm just going to scale it up like that. I think that should be good.